Welcome to Pencils and Lipstick. This is a podcast for indie authors. I'm Kat Caldwell, novelist, short story writer, and book coach. Here on Pencils and Lipstick, we're obsessed with all things story, and it is my goal to bring you the writing tips that you need to make your novel come to life.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome back to Pencils and Lipstick. This is episode 283, and I am Kat Caldwell. And today I have an interview for you with Alex Apostol. She is a zombie and dystopian writer, although she's also written a couple other things. And today we're going to talk about creating a 10th anniversary edition, making some exclusivity when you have a backlist, how you can use that backlist and kind of re-alive it again, especially when your life is maybe not giving you as much time to write as you would like it to. I think these are important topics to talk about, especially because the years go by pretty quickly and you still have a wonderful book that might have come out a couple of years ago, and you can remake the cover. You can have some fun bringing out sort of a special edition. And just know that books are not something that, it's like a one and done thing. Like you can come and sell them again and create excitement again. And I think this is also important, especially for anyone who didn't really feel like they gave their book the launch that it should have way back in the 20 teens, That's definitely my case. But even if you did, you can always bring it back out. Like, again, it is Jane Austen's 250th year. We're still, bringing out new editions of all of her books and making new movies. So we're going to talk quite a bit about that. And just Alex has an interesting story. Of course, everyone has an interesting writing story. And in that vein, I kind of thought that we would go back a little bit before we get into the interview and give you some tips on getting your writing done in this last final quarter of 2025, and just reevaluating some things that we can do as life gets busy going into the holidays, how you can sort of keep your stress of not getting as much writing done possibly as you want to, keep that stress down, maybe reevaluate how we are setting ourselves up for success. Just a heads up, next week, I have a marketing expert coming in. She's a book coach and a marketing expert, and she works with especially romance writers, but has a lot of tips for any kind of writer. So that is next week. And then the week after, we are going to talk about selling in person with Nancy Christie. So next week is Becky Grogan, and then the week after is Nancy Christie. And she's going to talk to us about how she gets into several in-person bookstores and sort of all the nitty-gritty of what you need to do to be a good guest there, but to really get in there in the first place. So those are the ones coming up. And of course, we will have more interviews finishing out the year. So I hope that you'll stick with me. Of course, I'm trying to do some announcements on TikTok and make sure you guys know who is on this week. So if you want to follow me there, of course, my follows are in the show notes below. And definitely check out Alex Apostol's book, Dead Soil. That is the new edition coming out, the 10th anniversary edition coming out. And all those links will be in the show notes below as well. So before I get into the interview, let's talk like 8 to 10 tips on how we're going to get our writing done. Life is getting really busy. It is October 20th. Yes, 20th as this goes out. And, like the Halloween is coming, and then all the things, Thanksgiving, Christmas, family, travel, hopefully nobody getting sick, just finals for your teenagers or your kids. Just lots of things are happening. I'm about to travel this week, and we travel for Thanksgiving and for Christmas this year. And I have a lot of goals for my writing, which I don't want to yet admit that they're not going to get done, but it looks like they might not get done. So my number one, my first item on the list for you today is take a realistic stock of your schedule for the next few weeks. And just be really realistic with yourself. I think Sarah Cannon does a great job of doing like these block outs, right? And so taking maybe the next, how many weeks are left? 10 weeks of the year and putting them out and really blocking off, especially the days that no writing is going to get done. You're going to, have other life issues happening, and just at least block those off. And just to be very realistic about what's going to be what you're able to do. In that same vein, the next one is maybe let go of the word count that you normally have ready to go. Sorry, my lighting is super weird today. If you're on YouTube watching, the sun is like going back and forth. So maybe reduce your daily word count. I try to get at least 2,000 words done a day. That's not always words that will stay, because sometimes when you put that word count goal, you really find yourself just like pushing through, and sometimes those words aren't going to stay. But I've said this before and I will say it again. It is okay to reduce that goal down, especially if you're a goal-driven person. Reduce it down to maybe 500 words, maybe 150 words. If you're not goal-driven, and you are okay with the days that you're not going to write, just be okay with that. That's cool. Maybe you can highlight the days that you really think you will write, and then try to stick to those. My third thought for you to get your stuff done is, because we have so many things going on in our heads at this time of year, like how many presents did you get and who do you owe presents, and what's on the agenda for this week and all the things, parent teacher conferences. How is your kid doing? Stop listening to things while driving and allow yourself to have some silence. This goes into taking a walk as well. Just silence. Find a space for some silence, where you can actually sit and just daydream. And I wouldn't even purposely say that you have to be thinking about the book, but giving your your brain some room to just organize itself. This is what it's supposed to do while we sleep. But I think sometimes when we're adults, we have so much going on in our heads, that we actually don't get, our brains don't get to rest enough. In the same vein, along with silence, I would really encourage you to not be on your phone right before bed, so that your brain can organize. That is something that I am trying to do as well. But especially while driving, you'd be amazed at like how much creativity your brain can find when it's given some silence and some space there to not be listening to a podcast or an audiobook. And I know we're all trying to get our reading challenges done this year, but like, what is more important to you? Is it giving your brain some space for creativity, or is it, reading that next book at 2x speed? I have some thoughts. But my next thought for you is, when you do sit down to write, try to write out the general idea of what scene you're writing that day. Write out the general idea by hand on a piece of paper. It gives you some parameters around like what you have already thought of to write that day. And if you're like me, there are times that if you don't do this, you sit down and you start writing, you're pretty sure where the scene is going to go, but then your imagination takes hold, and what we like to say, like the characters take over. And that's not always a good thing. Like, no, it's not true that the characters always know what's best, right? I think that's just kind of like our brains going rogue at times. And usually what we've thought of before is most likely the right way to go, the right scene that needs to be there. So write out the general idea of what needs to happen by hand. There's something magical about doing things by hand. It sticks in your brain better. I'm telling you, it does. You don't have to write the whole scene by hand, but maybe just a little bit of an outline or something of the sort. My next option for you, if you are wanting to get more writing done this fall and aren't really finding a way to do that is I would try dictation. Um, the thing that I like about dictation, the way at least that I do it, I use Whisper Sync. It is at least it's an Apple app, but I assume that it's on other like it's available for everyone. Um, I don't think it's not just an Apple app, but I don't have to say period or question mark or dialogue tags or anything like that. I just write out, like I say out what I see the scene as. And a lot of times it's pretty much dialogue that I'm thinking of and that I can add more details later. And it emails all of that to me written out. And of course, like there aren't any quotation marks in there, but there are periods and question marks. It's pretty good about that. And so then all I have to do is go into my email and copy and paste it into Scrivener. And I have to change the formatting, sure, but I have to, sort of edit it anyway, add a little bit more. Like he said this and he was sitting there stoically, whatever, whatever, and add some description to it. Um, but it's no longer like the dictation where you have to think in a certain way in order to say period, full stop, next line, blah, blah, blah. It like I could never do that. It felt so inorganic to me. And I never liked doing that. So I highly recommend doing it with Whisper Sync, or you can record on your phone just the same way on your recording app, the app that comes with your phone. Almost every phone I know comes with one. And then you can hit the dictation button on Word or Scrivener and just set your phone next to your computer for the next however many minutes, and it will type it out for you. Now, that's a little worse because there are no paragraph breaks. It just keeps going. And sometimes it doesn't like it won't give the like the punctuation like Whisper Sync does. So you will have a lot more editing to do, but again, it's better than nothing. So I highly recommend Whisper Sync. I think it's like $80 a year for unlimited amount of recording, and I can actually record for a full 90 minutes at a time. I've never done that much, honestly, but it will also let you just sit there thinking, and you don't have to continue, and it will just continue, pick up the lines when you start talking again. It's actually a pretty magical app. I highly recommend it. And these days when you walk and dictate at the same time, no one thinks you're crazy because everyone's always on the phone. So there's something to that too. My next idea for you is to toss what isn't working. Do not write yourself into a corner and then continue to beat your head against the wall. Yes, we all write ourselves into a corner. So there's that. But don't continue to beat your head against the wall with the corner. Like you're not going to make a tunnel. It's not going to work. If you know that it needs to go, if you know that it needs to change, toss it and change it. There is something in Stepping Across the Thames that I wrote a chapter about with this idea. And the idea is good, but the place at which it's happening is not good. It needs to happen more towards the end. It needs to be more of a surprise. And the scene that I wrote that I got the idea with is probably going to never go back to the book, but the concept of the scene is going to stick around. And especially since I wrote the scene, the concept is there. I have it ready to go. And yeah, I'm probably going to have to rewrite the scene, whenever he gives this gift to her. But I have it solidified in my head. There's no chance I'm going to forget about it. And it is much better. The story is just going to be better. So you have to toss what's not working. Last but not least, I would say do not scroll on your phone until you've written your words for the day. If today is a writing day, you do not get to go on your apps until you write the words. And that's going to be really hard to do. There was a time where, like, when I was really focused on growing my Instagram, that it was so hard not to get up and look at my Instagram and then think about the things that I needed to do for that. It's a lot easier to spend time coming up with Instagram posts than it is to sit down and write your book sometimes. Like it just feels easier and it feels like done, check it off. Oh, now I have to go write. But it gets in the way of writing. So if you are really struggling, use your TikTok or your Instagram as a gift to yourself, a prize, right? A reward on having gotten your words written. And again, going back up, like you don't have to keep the goal of 2,000 words a day or 1,500 words a day or whatever it is that you had. You can reduce that goal and then you can get your prize, right? But if you really do want to get your writing done, those apps have to stay shut. Like they suck our energy and they suck our creativity and they suck our time like nothing else. It is a big issue, I think, in probably every industry right now. Those are time suckers. So it's going to take a lot of discipline, but if you want to finish the book, you're going to have to give up something, right? And I would say giving up the apps is you can't give up your kids. You can't give up eating, but you can give up scrolling on TikTok. So those are my thoughts for you. Let me know what you do when you are on crunch time or just like finding yourself not getting your writing done. I love, it's funny to look on Instagram and TikTok and see all of the funny jokes that we make as writers about, reading instead of writing or scrolling TikTok instead of writing. And they're funny, but then it gets to the point where they're not funny because if you really want to get that book done, you are going to have to come down to crunch time, right? You have to put in the effort to get it done. And I want to see you guys get your books done. I want to see them out on the shelves. However long it takes you is fine, but it would just be so nice for you to advance from here to Christmas in your book, whether you get it done or not. But if you advance, that would feel so wonderful, wouldn't it? Getting that much closer to it by 2026. Okay, that's what I have for you for now. Let me know in TikTok or Instagram or what you do to get things done, or if one of these resonated with you. I will put a link. I will put at least the name Whisper Sync of the app in there. I'm not an affiliate or anything. Kind of wish I was, but I will put it in there for you so that you can check it out. And of course, check out Alex Apostol's books and her Instagram and all and her website. But before you go check them out, listen to the interview and maybe you should come out with, a 5th-year anniversary or a 1-year anniversary or 10-year anniversary or whatever you have of your books. I would love to hear about it. As usual, share this episode with any author or writer that or readers who love listening to interviews with authors. And if you know of somebody or you yourself want to be part of the show, you have to have at least 3 books published or be part of the publishing world, especially the indie author world, maybe with software or something, marketing, any sort of tool like that. And you can fill out the contact form at katcaldwell.com/contact. I would love to hear from you. But for now, let's get into the interview with Alex Apostol. So today I want to welcome Alex Apostol. Hi, Alex. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to talk to you. I haven't talked to a zombie thriller writer yet.
Oh, nice.
I'm pretty sure. Although you write other things too, you do lots of stuff. So we're going to get into all of that. But do you want to start off by letting us know just a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I live in Northwest Indiana with my husband, my 10-year-old, my black cat, and my quarter horse. Writing has always been a huge passion of mine. Since I was in middle school, I've been writing short stories. I got my bachelor's degree in English, hoping to use that to kind of be my foundation.
Be a writer or to be like an editor?
It started with journalism, actually. So I wanted to do journalism, but going out and interviewing people for me, like that really wasn't something I enjoyed.
Well, and you're of the age, like journalism was about to change. Like you're younger than me, but I mean,
It got real rough out there real quick.
Yeah, it was 10 years ago, so they were just starting to talk about like everything's going digital, nobody's buying newspapers anymore. So it was
Right.
definitely becoming a harder career path to follow, I think.
Yeah.
And then I'm more of a stay-at-home secluded person. So
I
being an
don't want to
author
talk
was,
to you people.
no, being an author was definitely a better choice for me.
It's like, give me the obituaries. I'll do those. I'll write those up. Yeah, I was told too, I was like, you should go, like a great job would be a journalist. And I took, I think, a class and it was just like, blah.
Yeah.
This is not my deal. I know I've interviewed a couple people who did it for a while. And I mean, it gives you some good skills, right? But it was just not for me. I tried
It
one
does.
article and for a local newspaper.
I wrote for my school newspaper, and I was actually in Chicago at the time, and there was this Russian circus that was like street performing, and they wanted
Nice.
to go interview them. So that was really like challenging,
Oh
but it
my
was also
gosh.
very funny. So it gave me some good writing skills to be able to take that and make something out of it.
Right. Like I'm interviewing circus people. I mean, there's a story there. I feel like you could.
There was, yeah, it was fun.
So your tell us about your first book. Your first book, as the show goes out, it's coming like a 10-year anniversary is coming out. So tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about your first book and how you got started writing.
My first book is Dead Soil. It's the first book in my zombie trilogy. Um, I grew up on horror movies, so I
Did
was
you?
born in 1987. So I was
Oh
and
yeah, there's
my sisters are 15 years older than me. So when I
oh
was
wow.
5, they were 20, babysitting me,
Right.
and
And they
so
didn't think of
I
it.
I grew up on Michael Myers and Nightmare on Elm Street and
Yeah.
Chucky. Unfortunately,
Chucky's so horrifying.
was the only one I did not like as a child, of course, but
No, because we had dolls. Like,
yeah. She had a Chucky doll and would with me.
did you ever watch
But
Gremlins?
yes, I loved Gremlins as a child. We still watch.
I I thought Gremlins was fine until my brother decided that Gremlins lived in our house. And then I think is when my child brain like clicked that, oh, I like this is scary, not just like they're blending, I thought it was absurd until I
Mm-hmm.
literally fell down the stairs one day because he frightened me.
Oh no. That's terrible.
I know. But when you go
You're
back
so
and watch it, you're like,
miserable.
this is kind of like
Dude,
it's
yeah.
funny.
You watch them as adults and you're like, that's not scary at
It's
all.
like, well, that's
The
probably what
effects
your
are
sisters were
terrible.
thinking. Like it's not, but
Yeah.
like Pet Cemetery was
Loved it.
horrifying. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh.
I watched that one all the time too.
So your sisters are at fault for you being.
At fault for me having an interest in horror movies for sure. And then once Walking Dead came out, that became me and
Oh
my dad's
yeah.
thing. So we would always sit down and watch The Walking Dead together. He loves zombies, and in my 20s, I loved zombies.
Yeah.
Watched all the zombie movies together. And I think that's where my spark for the first story came about
Yeah.
was I just wanted to be a part of that genre while it was booming and exciting and everybody
Right.
was hyped about zombies.
What was the 30 days? Was it that one where I was like
28, 28
28
days
days?
later,
I
we
was like,
actually
this
just,
could actually happen. Like that's what was so
uh,
frightening to me about that one. I was like, this could really be a real
that
thing.
one was scary because they weren't really like zombies. They were just infected people. We just watched
Yes.
that actually we watched it 2 days ago, and last night we watched 28 Weeks Later.
Oh man. I was just like, that's a thing. That could be, I don't know. That one felt
Mhm.
more real to me than
That one was more real, and I find it like when zombie stories have zombies that can like run really fast and jump really high, it's like you don't
yeah.
stand a chance.
No, no, like where are you gonna go?
Yeah.
I
I
did
tried to
think
make mine slow and
so,
easy to get away from, so
save our
not
hearts.
everybody's dead.
I oh, why can't I think of any names? What was the one that came out just this last year? It was like miniseries, and it's after the video game. It's the fungus one.
I don't know if I saw that one.
Have you
Is
know
it
as
The Last of Us,
The
or
Last of Us?
I don't
That
know.
one, I got into an argument with people because I was like, okay, if a fungus is eating your brain, you're not going to become faster. Like
Yeah.
fungus is notorious for being slow, like, like
Yes.
dumb. So
Yep.
that one, I was just like, I could watch it, no problem, no heart acceleration, because I was like, that's not going to happen. But what was interesting is like how the people become, like the survivors become afterwards. That's
Yeah.
very apocalyptic and very like, okay, that would definitely happen, where everyone's like gangs and they're going to be against each other. It's like, okay,
Yes.
that's the scary part.
Do you like that? And I did try to work that a little more into these books as well, that like the zombies really aren't the scariest thing out there. Like
The
the
humans.
people trying to survive can be.
So what happens in your book? How do zombies appear?
So
Without giving us spoilers, because we got to all go out and get it. But
true. So I decided to call it Dead Soil because my premise was, and it's actually really creepy, like rereading it now, 10 years later after COVID and
oh
everything.
no, that's so, oh my God.
I was like, wow, COVID could have like taken a real turn for the worse. Like it could have just been like this, but that's what it felt like reading it. So it starts as like a flu virus that
Look at
is
you.
going around, and all these scientists and stuff are scrambling and struggling to make a vaccine really
Okay.
quickly to stop it from taking out a third of the population, or however much they thought was going to be wiped out from this flu virus. And in that scrambling to create a vaccine, they accidentally infected the scientists testing it real quick to make sure it was okay, as the first zombie.
No way. And then how do they spread it? Does it spread then like a virus? Like,
Spreads just like normal zombie stuff. So once it's a virus, it's like in your system, and then from bites and scratches. And but the thing is, there's a twist. People who die end up becoming zombies, and they've never been bitten or scratched. So then they start to wonder, was it really from that, or was it from something else?
oh, you put twisting it. Oh my
There's a
gosh.
twist in there.
So can they not get rid of the zombies? Is there no way to like kill the undead?
There is like the
Okay.
same headshots,
You have to
decapitations.
go like,
You
you
have
got
to
to go
go full
gory.
brain. Otherwise, they're just losing limbs and scrambling after you.
I'm always wondering, like, what's happening to all of the decaying bodies? Because who's going to want to touch that?
Yes.
That's where I
Burying
go. And like,
bodies.
oh, how about the water supply? Like, are we?
I actually, that's something that I addressed in the book. I just finished rereading that part, but they were like, they just cleaned out their apartment building because they're trying to like fortify it and stay together in there. And they took all the infected, and they're like, what do we do with them? Like, what if we want to grow crops someday? We're going to bury in the yard and then infect our food. And
Yeah.
right now they're debating what to do.
Yeah. I mean, valid points, right? That sometimes aren't really addressed in movies where you're like, oh, that was quick.
Yeah.
These
Movies
movies
move a
tend to
lot
stick with
faster.
me, and I'm like, no.
That's how I am when I watch them. I'm like, that's real. That's not real. I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't do this. So in your books, when you're dealing with the people, is this like affecting then whole governments? Like the governments are collapsing and the people
Oh,
are becoming
everything's
tribal?
gone. Everything spread way faster than they ever thought it would with the flu, and it's very few people survive. It's like 28 days later where it's like
Yeah.
everything just collapsed.
Interesting. So
And it's
how did you like look into how would people behave? You know, like,
I just think a lot of research from reading a lot of zombie books, watching a lot of zombie movies, and having a lot of late night discussions with my dad
it's
about
good to have
what
someone who
we
likes the
would
genre.
do. Yeah.
Is this real? Is this how people would do? Because ultimately, a zombie book, the genre, it's about good and evil, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's about a lot of different under themes, but for me, like I said, I focused more on the living people than the dead. The dead were just something that forced them into survival mode. But
Mm,
like looking at the people and how they make different choices to survive and how some of them lose their humanity while others like hold on to it.
yeah.
I like focusing on that.
Yeah. Of course. I mean, a zombie can't really have a character arc and
No,
there's
no,
no
not
redemption.
really. Right. There's no redemption for them. But my dad was in Vietnam in the Air Force, and then I was in the
Oh,
Navy. So we both
okay.
kind of went through like military and survival type training.
Yeah.
So it was fun to like take some of that into it too.
Yeah.
And,
I
just
I will
try to
be
make
going to find the military people. I'll be like
yeah,
calling my brother. My brother claims he's
yeah.
not going to let me on to his compound, but I'll
No.
find a way. Find a way to get in there. Like anybody who has survival skills. I can barely grow a tomato plant, so I'm not sure what I will add to anyone,
I've been
but
upgrading my survival skills. I have a vegetable garden. That's about as good as I got it.
yeah, I have one of those because we lived through hurricanes. So I have like the dehydrated food. That's all I have.
My
well,
dad is stocking up military grade dehydrated food in his basement. He's like, just in case. I'm
just in
like, in
case.
case of what? You live in Indiana. There's nothing.
Well, he needs a silo, right? Like my little brother found like people have buried the silos, and like there's a whole like you can
Under
live underground now because they buried
wow.
the yeah you can. I mean, it goes like there are people very serious about this. uh
That's a good idea.
I'm
I never
revealing things
knew
about my family, here I am. I'm in DC, like I'll be dead, by the
that.
time anything gets to you guys in Indiana. Pretty sure they'll take out DC first. So it's like, so Dead Soil was your first book, like
Yes.
book. Was this like, are you in the Navy still when you're writing this, or did you get out of the Navy? Like, at what point were you like, I'm going to write a book?
I had just gotten out.
Okay.
2014 I got out. So 2016 I published Dead
Published.
Snail. When my daughter was born right after I got out. So that first year when I was at home with her a lot of writing. I had a lot of books come out like really quickly, one after another.
Good for you. So some of us are like, oh my gosh, there's a baby crying. I can't do
She
anything.
was an amazing sleeper, and I know I'm supposed to sleep when she sleeps, but like she slept a lot, so
You're like, I can't sleep this much. I must write a
yeah,
book.
I had time to write, which was very nice.
Yeah, that's amazing. So are you bringing out the entire trilogy next week as this goes out, or is it just the first one and then the
I
others ones will
decided,
come?
well, it was on a whim almost that I decided to do the 10th anniversary of my books because I was like doing my other job at the horse barn, watering the arena, just like tons of time to think. And I was like, I bet it's been almost 10 years since my first book came out. And I looked, I'm like, oh yeah, like it's coming up real soon.
Yeah.
So I had to put this together. And then I saw in February is the 10th anniversary of the first book in my other series that was
Okay.
really so I think I'm just gonna do a 10th anniversary for all of them when their dates come up and
That's a
try to
great
put some
idea.
cool new stuff out with it.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I mean, it's not like I tell everyone all the time, yeah, you have your book launch, but it's not like it becomes, unless it's a nonfiction thing that's like, you know, in the moment, like your book can be
Yeah.
read anytime, right? Like we got to take advantage of having something that can be read whenever and with new
Yeah.
audience, right? So,
Yeah.
so you're the next, is that the Broken Angel, the Angel
Yes.
series? Okay.
Broken Angel. That one was February of 2017. No,
Okay.
2016.
So you moved from zombie thrillers to supernatural thrillers, but what is the difference there?
Yes. Actually, I had started working on the Broken Angel series before ever going into the Navy.
Okay.
And I actually got a traditional publishing contract for it
Oh wow.
um, back in 2012, I think it was. Um, but I very quickly learned that I was not a fan of traditional publishing.
Of the 10%?
Not just that, it was very hard for me to let go of certain things and
Mm.
turn over my creativeness to someone else. And
Yeah.
they might not necessarily take it in a way that you ever thought of taking it and don't think that it works very well. And
Were they
uh,
trying to re-edit it?
they were trying to have me rewrite things, having things taken out, having new things put in. The cover design I just felt like had nothing to do with what was in the book, which was a big debate between us. I was
Huh.
like, the cover is a little bit misleading even to what is inside this
Interesting.
book. Um, I don't know that that's the way to go. And she's like, well, I'm not making a cover for your book. I'm making a cover that I want to represent my publishing company. And
That's odd.
I was like, that's super odd. Like, you think you want the cover to tell people what's inside the book?
That is odd.
So we just butted heads on a lot, and mutually we both said, like, this isn't working for either of us.
Oh,
So
I'm glad that you got out of it because sometimes it's really hard to get out of those contracts.
yeah, no, I'm glad that it ended up she didn't really want to continue and I didn't either. So
Yeah. That's
um,
so interesting because 2012, like there were quite a few angel things happening and like supernatural was pretty big. You
that's where a lot of my inspiration came from. I love supernatural, and it definitely
Yeah.
like monster lore and mythology and things
Yeah.
like that. So yeah, I was surprised with how big that genre was getting too, that it was
That
she
she
didn't
like was so pushy.
yeah, and she didn't want to
Yeah.
take it in like a supernatural genre way, even though
I
that's
feel like they're behind all the time.
I
I only had one poor experience with traditional publishers myself and then walked away. But man, it feel like they're always behind.
little bit
There was even a television show where that really tall guy was an angel. Like there was
like
vampires
yeah,
and
Buffy the Vampire Slayer and her
and
angel and
but even like after that, I can't remember that. Like I remember I was running. I remember things because of what I was listening to in 2012, and like there was a ton of supernatural stuff coming out. Um, but whatever. Okay, so her loss basically. Like she
yeah,
didn't want to do it.
yeah. Those have been my two biggest series and books. They still sell pretty well even 10 years later, so I'm
You have a
happy with
lot of
it.
books there. Like you
I
have
do.
7 books and
These last 10 years I've been pretty on myself. Like I'm pretty burnt out, which is why I was glad I could take a break and kind of re-edit and come out with 10th anniversaries, because I've just been like, my goal every year was to put out at least 2 to 3 books every year.
which looks like you did or more.
And it was hard.
I bet with a child and a
Yes,
horse.
and working a full-time job.
Girl, it's a lot. Okay. So how, let's see, you have the new adult supernatural thrillers. These are all the Camlin Page novels. And then
Yep.
the Chronicles of Supernatural. Is that the name? No, they're all Camlin Page novels.
Yeah,
Okay.
their Cameron Page is the main character. So Chronicles of a Supernatural Huntsman, that's the name of the series. I distinguished with her type of novels because I was planning to do kind of character spin-offs with their own little series.
Okay.
But I have not gotten to that point yet. I think I might still go.
Well, as I scroll further down on your website, I feel like you did. So you also have the Dead Soil series, which then you have
Yes.
spin-offs. I
The
mean,
spin-off, yep, Dead Beginnings.
you keep scrolling. We will have the link in the show notes so everyone else can keep scrolling too. Then you have literary and historical fiction, then you have journals. So my
Yes.
question is, this is all done in the last 10 years with a child with a full-time job. Everyone's going to be thinking, how did you do that?
How in the world? I was fortunate enough to have a job where once I was done with my work, I was pretty much just done with my work, but I still had
Mm.
to in case anything else came up. So I would work on my stuff, waiting to see if anyone else had anything else for me. And if they didn't, I
Crossing
just
your fingers.
yeah, please don't bring me any more work. Then I could get 4 hours of writing in a day, 3.
So you're
And so
kind
I
of
did
stuck at your desk and you might
stuck at
as
my
well write.
desk. Yes. So that's how it turned out for the majority of the time. And I actually, this last August, not this year, but the one before, made a career change. I quit my job at the Jeep dealership I worked at, and I became the manager of a horseback riding barn down the road from me.
But that's
And
no longer sitting at a desk.
no longer sitting at a desk. I manage 13 horses, the facilities, and then I do the business end at home.
Okay.
So it has been a little challenging this last year to find riding time without up family time.
Yeah.
Which I don't want to do. So now I'm just trying to kind of take this year to figure out my new schedule and
Where it will go.
where
Yeah.
to fit it in.
Yeah. I feel like that's always there's always these seasons where you can get a lot of writing done and then you don't get a lot of writing done. And then, so you kind of have to take advantage of that time, right? I'm sure somebody's listening going like, I don't like the idea of sitting for 4 hours writing, but if you don't have a full-time job, that is pretty much, it takes a couple hours, right? To get that many books done. Even if you want to go one a year, it's going to take a few hours to write.
Yeah, I think by the last 5 years, I did 2 books a year, and I was writing about 4 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So what was your so I mean, and I always tell people too as they're starting, because the audience is a mixture of people who have written quite a few books and people are starting books. Do you feel like it's easier to write books the more that you write them? How do you feel about that? Like starting and getting through the middle? How?
I've always done things a little differently, just depending on the book. I do actually, the journals that I created are usually journals that I've needed to use and haven't found anywhere. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to make my own. So I use my novel notes journal all the time. So it has character planning pages. So I use those to plot out all the characters in the stories, kind of dive into their backgrounds. It has like world building pages. So I'll use those to create if it's not a real world, or to kind of just keep track of my research. So I'll usually take about a month or so to kind of get all of that down before I start writing. But I don't necessarily plan my stories in depth or detail every time. Sometimes I will, but a lot of times I find even if I do that, like things will come up I didn't plan for in writing anyway.
Yeah, I don't know how people plot.
It's hard. I'll try it and then I'll be like, I'm going to stick to my plot, and like it never happens.
I don't get it either. Yeah, it never happens. So you're mostly like, you take a chunk of time brainstorming the characters more than anything. The characters, I guess, in the
world. Yeah.
So do those ever change as you're writing the book?
Yeah, there'll be a lot of times I'll stick to what I planned, but new things will come up, like quirks or, different things that they do or say, or sometimes I'll be a little more rushed in my planning of them, so I won't get everything down, but I'll at least know what they look like, and different things that need to kind of keep your details straight.
Yeah.
Because that'll be hard. You don't want their eyes going from like blue to green or something halfway through. And
it's the atmosphere and what they wore that changed.
Yeah.
No, see, she wore a different ribbon. That's obviously why. There's things that are important like that, and I always tell people too, like the thinking part I find very as necessary as the writing part. Like, I mean, on one hand, you're lucky you have the time to think, probably as you're like washing down a horse. You're like, I'm thinking about it, whether or not you can get that onto a note somewhere, before you forget, as I would. But it seems to be that you have to think kind of deeply about the characters, whether they are zombies or, fighting zombies, or on a, in a historical fiction, like how are they reacting? Would that make sense? And then the side characters, because as I don't know if you edit or read other people's novels or beta read, a lot of times you can really feel when the plot is just like plotting and the character's just like there. Like, I don't know,
Yes.
like
Like
you
it
haven't
doesn't fit
thought.
together, right?
Yes, it's like, but why would that happen? Like, why would you react like that? And I mean, I'm totally guilty too, because when you're writing, you're just like,
Mhm.
okay, I need this to happen, and she's gonna say that. And then I've come to the point where then I'll step back and I'll think the next day and be like, well, that's not how that would work, would it? So, like,
Yeah.
nobody would act like that.
A lot of that just comes like getting that first draft out. And I'm always just like, my first draft is so great. Like,
I
I don't
know.
need to change anything. And then
I
I'll let it
know.
sit for a few weeks or even a month. And then I'll go back and read it when I've kind of forgotten like what details are and stuff. And I'll read it. And that's when I'm like, well, I need to go more in depth with that. Well, that's not right. And changing
Right.
a lot there. So you end up at,
Yes.
I feel like instead of taking out while editing, I'm definitely adding a lot more in.
Right. Right. You have to come at it. And I think you have to come at it like you do have to feel really proud of the first draft, otherwise you'll never get through it. Like, this is going to be great this time. I won't need to edit as much. And
Right.
like, you almost have to trick yourself into that. But then I mean, I think a lot of people don't spend enough time letting it sit before they
Yeah.
read it.
Yeah. If
Because
you dive right back in after writing it, everything's still fresh in your mind to where you're just going to blow through it and read it like it's a done story.
you think it's fine.
Yeah. You got to really forget about it, forget even what your plot is and characters and their details, and then go back with fresh eyes and
Yes.
be like, whoa.
Dang
Well,
it. Do you print yours out? I always have to print mine out. I'm the harshest when I
I
print.
do. I print mine out and I'll edit it on there and then I'll sit there and do my edits.
Yeah. I
I
can't
need
I can't discipline myself with the computer. Like, I will just start editing little things and not like read the
yeah,
whole, and it'd be like,
you end up proofreading and not really
yes,
editing.
that's it. Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Yes. So true. So what made you move into literary and historical fiction when I mean, that's quite the different.
It is. So as I've always been a huge reader, I'll read anything. I have so many different genres that I like that it was hard for me to just be like, I'm going to be a zombie writer and that's all
Yeah.
I'm going to like for the rest of my life. Like,
Yes.
there's so many things I'm interested in. So, in the last couple years with the Outlander series and things like that, I've really gotten into like historical fiction.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. There's a lot of like King Arthur fiction, things like that, more fantasy type or just regular historical, but usually they have a fantasy type twist with Outlander, like the time travel.
Right. Yeah. I love Outlander.
I love it too. So I decided like I would really love to do a historical fiction. And this idea came just pretty much from my life. So I took my experiences and everything I had being a single mother trying to find a job to support me and my daughter. Um, I had to hurry up and I rushed and got a job as a car salesman because my dad had always been in the car business.
Okay.
And that was kind of the basis for my historical book, When Dealing with Horses, except instead of a car dealership, she's working at a horse and buggy shop, selling
Nice.
horses and cars. And that was kind of my way to include horses as a major part of a story too, because now I work with them full time. I
Right.
can definitely make that realistic and all
You know,
the things
that's
that you
really
want
important though. Like,
to
I
is.
mean, otherwise you're like, oh, the horse was, like, that's not the right dimension of a horse. No.
Right. You can definitely tell people who are horse people and write those books and people that just are not.
No, I know.
Because
Like,
everyone thinks horses are these like beautiful, majestic, like creatures, and you're just like, no, they're terrors. Like
they have such attitude.
they do.
They'll nip at you. They're taller than you think they are.
Yes.
They're hard to get on. They'll always move.
They
When I
have
was
their opinions and they're not afraid to tell you.
Oh my God. I'm very allergic to them, but I grew up on a horse farm. So
Oh gosh.
I'd have to take care of the outdoors ones because apparently allergies in the 80s didn't affect you if you weren't inside the barn. I would be the outside the barn person. Hosing them down and being like, stop moving.
Right.
They like eat your hair and you're like, that's not hay. Like,
Right,
leave me
right.
alone. They'll like, they don't want their bit in their mouth. They'll like slobber all over you. We're gonna ruin it for everybody. They all think that
They're gonna be like, don't want anything to do with horses now.
it's just like when there's a unicorn in a book and you're like, okay. And it's like it's a
I
horse.
haven't thought about that.
Maybe you need to write unicorn. You should.
It's just gonna be a terrible horse.
It's gonna be
a new way to
opinionated.
injure you.
Unicorns are always so nice. And I'm like, that's not realistic. They're not going to be nice. They're going to be like attitude because they're related to horses.
Have you?
Like if you think cats are bad, horses are like,
Yeah. Girl horses for sure. The boys are a little nicer.
Yeah, the worst is when one of like you have them together and they don't get along. They get all catty and so they'll start biting each other and you're like, what, really? What you
Unfortunately, my horse is at the bottom of the pack, so they're
always be. There's always one. Like they are mean sometimes.
He's like, trying really hard to not be at the bottom. We got a new horse, and he was like, "Nope, you're at the bottom. I'm at least above you." He's like, stop.
Walking like a peacock. No, I need this guy to take my place. Oh my gosh!
Oh my nice.
So how as we talk more about horses, no, we'll talk about writing. Everyone who's listening is like, why did you decide to keep your name for all of these? You didn't choose a pen name.
I didn't. So Alex Apostol, that is my maiden name. I guess just how supportive my parents were and how like invested they were in me being a writer and how excited they were for that. I just wanted to keep that name going. I always knew I'd be married one day and my name was going to change, but this was kind of a way for me to still be attached to the maiden name. And
it's a good name though.
I like it.
I think Alex Apostol, like it sounds very literary. I thought maybe it was a pen name, but it's a good name. Keep it. Do you think that like I think I always go back and forth and people ask me this because I write different genres. Like I personally didn't think of it. Like it didn't even occur to me to use a pen name. I don't know why. Like growing up, people wrote books. I never thought of genres. Like, I don't know why. It just was never, I would just read whatever. I didn't think of that way. But do you think it affects how you market the book or anything like that? Or do you just fully embrace?
You know what? Honestly, the only time I've ever thought of a pen name was to create my own publishing company, basically, to be able to fill that in when I publish my own books. Like it's not just published by Alex Apostol. It's published by this company that would basically just be me. And that was the only time I ever thought of creating like a publishing
like a name.
Alias, or a name to be able to do. But no, it never occurred to me to write under a pen name. And I don't really know a lot of authors, I guess, that do that anymore.
I think I know a couple, but I think because they're writing things they don't want
it could be, like if you don't want somebody knowing that's your book, but that's never been the case for me, I guess. I wouldn't.
You know what's odd is there's I forget what the pen name is, but now there's a lot of ones where it's like two famous writers and they're becoming a pen name, which I find very
they'll like mix two famous authors' names together.
So they're like writing it. No, the two famous people are writing the book, and they write it under an invented name.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which I found like, but why? Like,
You
why
think
would I
the name
buy that
attached to
book?
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, from someone you don't know as opposed to the two famous
yeah.
authors. That's
Like I
interesting.
feel like it was V.E. Schwab with somebody where I was like, well, if I know it's her, then I'm
Yeah.
gonna buy it. But I don't know this pen name. I wondered about the marketing of that, because I
I
mean, marketing is like my nemesis. I was trying to figure out.
the only like famous author I remember doing a pen name was J.K. Rowling when she came out with those like
Right.
murder mysteries. She tried
Yeah.
to be Robert Galbraith or whatever.
Yeah, it didn't
Like,
stay secret very long.
the fact that it was her didn't stay secret very long.
Yeah.
So it's like, what was the point of that?
I don't know. I don't know what the point is. Like, is it for the algorithm, or is it for like,
Possibly. Or
but you think it takes so long just to get to like people to know that you have a book out? Like, what? You'd have to then
yeah,
work that this invented person has a book out.
starting all over again. The only thing I did think about was whether I wanted to be Alex or Alexandra.
Mm,
And I decided in the end to go with Alex because it is gender neutral.
yeah.
Some people are very like, well, I'm not going to read a zombie book written by a girl. Like, well,
Really?
it's just Alex. So,
You will never know. And Alexandra's really long. I bet you'd either
yeah,
have to have your name really tiny or like on two lines. I mean,
yeah,
these are real things you got to think of.
I know. Yeah, I love doing cover design myself. So I do think about those things as well.
Are your covers done by you?
Yes.
All of them?
The only one that wasn't, the original Dead Soil I purchased. And Earth Angel, that cover was done by a cover artist. All the other ones I did myself
Wow.
through Shutterstock images, iStock images,
Good for
combining
you.
things and just playing around with font and design.
No,
That's
you
why I
have
said,
a really good
like,
eye.
part of doing the traditional publishing and stuff, like I have fun doing the other stuff. Like I don't want to give up doing my
Right.
interior layout because I like making it, special, and same with
Yeah.
cover. So,
No, these are really good.
oh, thank you.
Because most of the time I can tell if people have made their own covers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because because it's the same, like I just don't have that eye. So I struggle to put together, like, I love watching how people make them, because I'm like, oh, they took like 15 elements and now it's this thing. And like, it just wouldn't, it's not how I think.
Yeah.
And I think most writers think like me, and then they make this cover that you're just like, yeah, that's not gonna sell. Trying to be nice about this, but I mean, your fonts go really well together. Like, you would never think. I really like that 10th anniversary edition one.
Thank you. And
I
I
think
have
it's
a lot of people that I send stuff to, and I'm like, do you like this font or this font? Do you like this picture or this picture? Do you like this or this? Like, I have my husband and my neighbor who reads a lot, and like people in my life that I'm like,
yeah,
okay, give me some opinions here.
yeah, like, yeah, because you need kind of that first gut feeling of like, because we just know it, like we know as humans like what we want. Maybe we can't say why, but we'll be like,
Mhm.
no, that looks DIY. No, not that one. Do this
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Do you have a background in graphic design, or is it just something you enjoy and have?
It's just something I enjoy, and I just started playing around with as I decided I was going to independently publish. And I was starting to like purchase covers and have them do stuff. And then I was like, you know, a lot of these like don't look that hard. And so then I downloaded a PicMonkey and started playing around
Oh
on there.
yeah, yeah.
And I was like, it's not that hard. So
You're funny. Like, it's not that hard. I have all of the things, and it's still hard.
I thought about for another side thing, because I always have side things going on, but another side thing doing my own book cover company and selling pre-made book covers and stuff. Because
Yeah,
I mean, all
everyone's
I
always
do is
looking.
just download a bunch of images and put a bunch of covers together, I guess. But I wouldn't have the time for that.
Well, that's what it's like. It's constant, right? Like, so
Mhm.
so you were saying that your books are still selling pretty well, which I like. Some people struggle to sell books. Have you found what works for you in your genres, or is it just sort of keeping on them, or do you have any thoughts on what people could do to
Uh,
find their way of marketing?
I have built my newsletter list.
Hmm.
So I do have that. I did work really hard to build like my Instagram. I had like, I don't know, 5 or 6,000 people following me, but then I felt like a lot of it was very spammy.
Yeah,
So I kind of got rid of that and started over with that to try to really be more picky about who I interact with on there and try to really be with actual readers rather than people that
just
are
random.
promoting things. And yeah. So I would say through my Instagram and through my newsletter. And then just I built my own website and I really like doing website design as well. I think having that is a great presence for people to go there and be like, okay, well, this is a legitimate writer that,
Right,
I can see all their stuff and just
right.
getting your Amazon profile together. I do free book days through Amazon, and then announce that they're free so we get the downloads and stuff. And then
Are you exclusive to Amazon?
I am.
Okay.
I have tried different ones. So I published through I think Smashwords and they put it out to everybody. So I was in the Apple and then in Barnes and Noble, and when you're not exclusive to Amazon, you can't be a part of Kindle Unlimited.
Not as an indie author, but you can
Mm.
as a traditional author.
Yes.
Just one more reason to be upset with them.
But
Hey, you don't get those Kindle countdowns or the free days.
yes, and a majority of my sales and royalty comes from Kindle Unlimited. So
Hmm.
it wasn't worth it to me to sell anywhere else because it was actually cutting my visibility and
Yeah,
sales.
yeah,
So
yeah. That's
yeah.
what frustrates me about the others. Like, I mean, I don't even think that much about Apple, but like Barnes and Noble,
Hmm.
I feel like if they're listening, which they're not,
Yeah, they're listening.
if you're listening, and Kobo, they just don't compete enough. They're not competitive enough. There's not enough tools. There aren't enough promotional tools.
Hmm.
That like there's I don't know why they don't do it, but I mean we would be all over it as indie authors if they had a reason for us to go wide. It
Yeah.
just
It's like Amazon
unfortunate.
keeps adding more and more all the time to make it an even better experience to independently publish with them. Like now you can do the hardcovers, and that's really cool.
I
I'm just waiting
know.
to do dust jackets, and then it'll be perfect.
I would really like a large print too. I let them know, but they don't care. But like, so as far as like paperbacks, we can sell anywhere and we can do that. You could sell it through your website, whatever. It's just
Mhm.
the ebooks that are the KU exclusives. And it
Yep,
is difficult I have gone back and forth on Wide and KU, and there are lots of reasons to stay KU.
there are.
There's just,
I love it.
yeah, I wish
And
that the others would be more competitive. Give
yes,
them
I
a
mean,
run for their money. It'll be good for us.
love to see my books in an actual Barnes and Noble. That would be cool.
Yeah,
Um, but if you're not selling through them, like they won't
yeah, yeah.
take your book. So I have yet to figure that part out. But selling online, I've got down.
Where do you sell the journals? How do you sell those?
That's through Amazon as well. So I just
Okay.
sell them as paperbacks. I tried selling them as Kindles too, because a lot of people have Kindle Scribe and things like that where you can write on it. But
Okay.
then the people who don't have a tablet that will do that started complaining, like, it's just a blank journal. Like, you knew that when you bought it.
It says journal.
Yeah,
Like, what did you
and
think
there's
it was?
sample pages that you can look at, but it's like it's meant to be written. And yes, if you don't have a device you can write on, like, don't
Oh
buy
my
it on that
gosh.
device.
That's, man,
Just
like, yeah,
just
that'll tank
taking
your reviews for things
exactly
that
it
are like,
did.
this is your fault. Like,
Right.
why did you?
Review. This is just a journal. Well, yeah, I know.
It's literally in the title. Oh my gosh. Reviews are so tricky. Like,
They are.
I was working with a new writer today and she got a 2-star review and she was like, there wasn't really a reason. Like, she was like a beta reader. So she had like, several, like one of the first drafts that got public. And I was like, this is one of the caveats of having beta readers if people do that. So I don't do beta readers, but this is one of them. If they take a long time to read it and then forget that like it got edited in the meantime and then they
Yes.
review it, it's kind of frustrating. But
Yeah,
there
I
isn't
don't
much.
really do beta readers either.
No, I can't. It was like a thing. I was surprised when I started like teaching and editing and things during COVID. I was like, how many people rely on beta readers instead of an editor? And then things get really muddy.
Yes.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
opinions
Mm-hmm.
happening. How have you done with editors? Do you edit? Do you have
I
external
edit
editors?
actually. Um, in college, that was one of the things I really excelled at. I got an A+ in every grammar and editing. I was like, well, I must be good at this. So
I must know what
I
I'm doing.
took it on myself to edit, and I know it's not perfect, but I think
Nothing's perfect.
it's pretty up there. Like, I reread my old stuff and I'm still like, there's not that much to like grammatically edit as far as like storylines and stuff. Um, that gets tricky with me again because I do like hearing the opinions of others to kind of work things in, but at the same time, like, I love that my books are my books,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
it went where I want it to go, and
Yeah.
I don't want to get, I guess, caught on like a popularity track or like a, hey, this is really big right now, why don't you try to work that in? And it's like, nah.
No,
I'm
that's not what this is.
yeah.
Yeah, I've had a couple. I worked with somebody who was doing like getting their certification and something, so they needed a manuscript to look at, and her opinion was just like, well, I like it, but if you change, like if you made one of the twins, what did she say? Like, I think she was wanted me to make them like secretly gay or like, and I was like, yeah, but that's not the story. Like
Right.
the
That has
story. I
nothing to
mean,
do with what's going on.
yeah, like you could, except that it would change the entire plot, and then you'd have to change like how they're reacting to each other because the whole point is like betrayal between siblings, not like is somebody in the closet. So you just have to be careful with that, you know,
Hmm.
as people look for editors, and
Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard. But if you're not good at like the grammar and things, you should most definitely find somebody who is.
definitely. And I've even considered still with doing that, going out and hiring an editor, just because it's more likely that they'll catch those little things that you tend to just breeze over because you know what it's supposed to say.
I know,
Um,
isn't that crazy?
your mind does that. I really have to like train myself to slow down and read aloud and read every word for what it's written, not what I think it was supposed to
It was
be.
saying, yeah.
So
I have to
that's
listen to it and be like,
this
that's not a word. Like, what was I trying to say?
that's definitely misspelled because when you type things out in Word, they have their editing thing, but it's not always right.
No, and the new autocorrect will like make up words.
I
Like,
don't like that.
I hate it. Like if I'm typing and somehow I do the spacing incorrectly, sometimes it'll become 2 words. Like I would rather it just like be a blob because I could probably figure it out
Yep.
rather than it just thinking it knows what I'm trying to say. And I'm always like, that's not anything that would
Yeah.
go here. So
Where AI and things like that start to get tricky, where you're like, I know you think you know what I want, but you don't know what I
but you
want.
don't. Please shut up. I know my husband put something on the computer that like will check your spelling because he's Spanish, and so he wants to check his spelling and grammar, and it's like constantly on my like all these colors, and I have to like go and find a way to turn it off and be like, stop. That's like, I don't need your opinion right now.
Can get overwhelming.
I'll need it later. Well, and I know some people who will do it through Pro Writing Aid or whatever. Like, just be careful, because if you just say like yes to all these, like that's too passive. You like it makes
Starts
it wonky.
Yeah.
You
That
can't just
has
accept it.
that's been something that I've had to like kind of learn and teach myself as far as like passive voice and all that. But not rely on those aids to correct it for me, but just to
Yeah.
be able to catch it myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what you said before, like leaving it for some time will
Mm,
help your brain just like
it does, yes.
put on that editing, more like that reader, like what's the experience of like reading this now instead of writing it?
You
And
forget what
then
it's supposed to say.
yes, yeah, I mean I do after children. Like, I'm like after pregnancy I'm like, what did I eat? I don't know. So when you last question, and then we'll recap all of your stuff and where people can find you. But if you were writing 2 books a year and you were like spending a couple weeks like thinking of the characters and all that, and then you put it away for a month, like how long do you take to write a book?
Not very long.
Really?
Once I start that first page, everything just comes flowing out, and I'm just like writing and writing.
Interesting.
I've never,
Interesting.
I've never had, I know as much as people want to hear about like tips for getting over writer's block and like things like that, I've never experienced it. I
Well, maybe
always,
it's due to your journal, like your
maybe
thing.
my journals and my planning.
Yeah, I mean maybe,
I
because I
have
would
no
think if
idea.
you know your characters, because that's the story, it's your characters.
It does help for sure. Um, I'm someone that has always had at least 4 stories going on in my mind at any given time. And once I get one out, then another one will come in and take its place. So
Yeah,
like I've
you're,
never
you're
had
never on zero.
never on zero. I've never had a lack of stories to get out there. Like even now that I've been writing so long, I'm like, wow, I've wrapped up this series. I've wrapped up this series. Like, what am I going to do with myself? Like, I don't have another series on the back burner. And then like 5 more will just jump right on. Like, you've got plenty.
Like, they'll come. Oh, you want more? We'll give you more. Yeah. I
Yes.
wonder about that. So I'm going to put the link in the show notes for the novel notes, a writing journal, because hey, I really do believe the more that like my worldview of writing is if you understand your character, you won't like the plot will come because they're working through the plot. Like, and I feel like if a plot gives you problems, you can kind of brainstorm that out with almost anyone, like if they know the genre. But it's the character, you need to know who they are. Like,
Yeah. Because
and
they're not always just going to be so similar to you. Sometimes they're the opposite of you. And to really think like, well, I would never do that, but like, what is that person thinking when they do that? You know?
right.
And a lot of times it's you're writing characters that are doing something you wouldn't do, but when people do things that you normally wouldn't do, a lot of times they think they're in the right. They're doing something
Yeah.
good, even if it's not. And
Yeah.
kind of view that as stepping out of a comfort zone a little bit.
Right. Right.
Really
As you
thinking
were
about
writing those zombie, like I'm sure there are characters who are doing things that
bad characters. Yeah.
yeah,
And you
but
don't
they
want to
gotta
just
have a
make them
reason.
like hokey villains, you know?
Yes. Yes.
You want them to think like, well, I'm doing this for good. And it's like,
Right.
no, you're not.
Right. 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 Like I'm doing this because I love you. Like, well,
Yeah.
that's not what love is.
Yes, exactly. That makes it more believable because that's how people are.
Right. Absolutely. Like sometimes the villains become our favorite characters because they have reasons for
Hmm.
being how they are. Like that's when you know it's a good villain, where you're like, but I
Yeah,
kind of want him to have redemption, even though
that
that
and
would,
also like nobody is truly evil, like there
yeah,
is that's just all bad. There's good about everybody, but
yeah, yes, absolutely. And if you're gonna write apocalyptic stuff or supernatural, like there's got to like good versus evil. There's still got to be those gray characters, right? So that
yeah,
people
it's
like it's not like a 5-year-old story where like don't touch the matches. Like
yep, yep.
the adults will want like some depth to it. So
Hmm.
so the book, well, we will have a couple different links. We're going to have a link to the novel notes, a writing journal, and then Dead Soil is the one that is coming out for its 10-year anniversary. And as this episode goes out, the pre-order is up, right?
Yes.
Awesome. We'll have the new cover, which I I mean I like the old cover too, but I really like your new cover. So anyway,
That's the feedback I'm getting. My dad was like, "Oh yeah, new cover is definitely better." I was like,
I
"Okay."
like perfect. If Dad says it's good, then we got it.
Yeah,
Awesome. And so where can people find you? Where are you at? Are you still on Instagram?
I am. My tag is writer Alex Apostol, just all lowercase, no
Okay.
spaces or anything. And that's mainly where I just do my social networking. I
Okay.
have Pinterest where I have my storyboards and stuff people can follow too, but mainly I'm just on Instagram.
And for your newsletter, they just go to writeralexapostle.com.
Yep, there's places there where you can fill in your email, become part of the newsletter, and I like to give away like free books and stuff to my
Nice.
followers, and they always get first dibs on things. And
Very nice. The perks of being on a newsletter. So we will definitely have those links in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming on and being my first zombie apocalypse.
oh, thanks for having me. It was fun.